Well, hello and welcome. In a shocking display of territorial overreach, Prema Thongdok, a British-based consultant from Arunachal Pradesh, was detained for 18 hours at Shanghai's Pudong International Airport. Transiting from London to Japan, Thongdok's ordeal began when Chinese immigration officials seized her valid Indian passport, declaring it invalid because her birthplace, Arunachal, is, in their view, Chinese territory, something which New Delhi says is rubbish. Mocked and humiliated by staff, Prema appealed to the government both in Delhi and via the Indian consulate in Shanghai, slamming the ludicrous grounds for detention. Ultimately, the Indian embassy, the Indian consulate in Shanghai was able to move in and get her out of trouble, but she couldn't continue with her regular flight and she had to return. She's now in Bangkok and perhaps will not go to Japan at all, perhaps will return either to India or to the United Kingdom. Well, we're joined now by a very special guest, Prema Wangjom Thongdok herself. Prema, thank you so much. And it's just horrible what you have had to suffer in all of this, and we appreciate you, coming on record. Tell us a little bit about what happened at Shanghai Airport. When did it start? What exactly took place?
So I left from London Gatwick Airport for my holiday in Japan, which had a transit in Shanghai for about only 3 hours. So obviously, because I had flown this route before and I was well aware that you can transit, is why I did take this journey, because the first time that I transited from Shanghai was in 2024, October 16th. And because it was my first time transiting through China, I ensured that I called up the Chinese embassy in London, and they ensured that, yes, there is no issue. If you're just transiting, you can transit for less than 24 hours or 12 hours without a transit visa, which is why I took on this journey. And once I reached Shanghai Airport, basically one of the immigration officers singled me out of the security gates queue and basically pointed at Arunachal on my passport to say invalid passport. Arunachal part of China, not India.
Prema, how many hours did you end up spending before Indian Consulate General officials reached out to you in Shanghai?
I could actually get out without their help, because what they insisted at the end was, get back to your country or go to UK. The reason I did speak and reach out to the Indian embassy is for them to be able to speak with the immigration, reason with them and say, on what grounds are you saying that our country's passport is invalid, so that they can let me go on my onward journey to Japan, which actually didn't happen. So very kindly thankful to IFS, Mr. Rajat, and all his team that came to the airport once I rang them. But actually I couldn't even get hold of any phone number to call Indian embassies, because the Chinese Wi-Fi was really slow in the airport, and it did not have, you cannot access WhatsApp, any of your socials. You cannot even access Google from China. So I could not find the number to be able to contact or make any contact to my family or anyone that I'm stuck in China, basically. After, I think, almost 10-12 hours is when basically I kind of pressured the immigration and the airline staff that, look, I need to speak to someone. There is no way I would stay here for this long without you guys giving me a proper, definitive written document which says that Indian passport for holders and residents of Arunachal is invalid. And they obviously just kept basically dismissing my comments or me questioning them about, why are you holding me, etc. And it was after 10 to 12 hours that I basically, when I told them I need to speak to a lawyer, and so they gave me the landline, which I used to contact my friends in London. Because also the fact that it was the weekend and the timing was as such, I couldn't actually get hold of the Indian embassy in London because it was almost midnight. So I rang my friends who helped me get numbers for the Indian embassy in Shanghai, and that's when I contacted them.
Was there resistance as well towards the Indian officials who were trying to help you?
Absolutely. There was no resolve, so I did kind of feel bad that, such high officials have come to the airport to solve such an issue for someone like me. Like, I'm just a citizen, I'm not even a government official or anything.
They're
And in
just doing
fact, the
their
fact,
job. Yeah, but go ahead. Yeah.
yes, yes. So I'm very grateful for them. But actually, the end result was the same. I still had to leave for India or UK. They wouldn't listen to the Indian officials as well, and would not completely dismiss the fact that Indian passport is a valid travel
So,
document.
so basically, they wouldn't allow you to continue to Japan, and they said you can go back to where you've come from and go to India as well. They just wouldn't let you continue with your journey, right?
Yes, exactly. And so restrictive to the fact that because I was so tired, 12 hours journey from London, almost being held for 18 hours, I kind of said to them, look, I just need to be out of here, so let me book any flight. So they would restrict it. It was a pure case of harassment. They wouldn't even let me book any other flight. It had to be China Eastern.
Yeah.
Now the question here is, obviously, if China Eastern is the flight that brought me from London to Shanghai and they are dismissing my passport, they saw my passport at the boarding gates in London. Why didn't they not stop me there? So it's a due diligence and negligence from the airline. To actually board someone that they think doesn't carry a valid document.
Yeah.
And obviously, the Indian document is not invalid. I'm a frequent and a avid traveler. I mean, between my work and, when I get paid holidays, every year I travel. I've been to 58 countries where Indian passport is very well a valid document.
Ultimately, you're in Bangkok now, where you're speaking from, and are you going back to London, or are you trying to continue with your journey to Japan?
I lost so much funds in terms of flights and hotels, so I'm just rethinking the whole process. But yes, the whole idea was my company. I work in financial services in the UK, and in fact, my work is regulation. So I advise big multi-billion-dollar clients on financial regulations. So I'm very well aware of regulations, and which is why I did my due diligence and I knew that this is a safe route to take because I've already taken this route and I've sought permission from the Chinese embassy before taking this journey. So my idea was to basically explore Japan because obviously that's one of the countries that I've not been to, and then use my remote working holiday so I can work remotely from anywhere in the world for a month. So I was planning to be here somewhere in Asia, perhaps,
Sure.
Indonesia or here, and have my family over and basically meet them before I head back to UK. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm still here.
Prema, let me ask you this. It's a personal question. Do you not feel deeply offended by what happened? Besides all of this legalese and the process, does it not, doesn't it really strike a chord? Doesn't it really hit you as an Indian that is why you are being targeted?
Exactly. That is the point because, see, I travel quite often. I love traveling. I love to explore new countries, and just that's my thing to do. Everyone has their own hobby and passion apart from their job. But the fact that I'm raising this is not because I've been inconvenienced. I mean, you have your travel good and bad stories, right? It was very deeply painful for me as an Indian national to be told that a part of your country, your land, where your birthplace is considered not part of your own country, but of China. And obviously, I do not want any future Indian citizens to face such an ordeal, and especially people from Arunachal, because I do remember a couple of years ago when Indian, like Arunachal athletes, wanted to go to some of the athletic event, and China somehow did something similar. So it seems to be quite a recurrent
Unfortunately, it is.
event
Yeah.
for Chinese immigration and the government to not be taking strict actions against their staff, and perhaps maybe it's a welcome change for India to understand that that maybe this is something that they need to discuss on a more
Yeah.
strict and diplomatic level.
You know, there's been a statement from New Delhi, I don't know if you've had a chance to look at it, where they've actually said that at a time when India and China are trying to regularize the relationship, something like this doesn't help the process at all. Are you satisfied with that response?
Absolutely, totally agree. Something as sensitive as um, claiming a part of another country to be theirs, China calling Arunachal to be theirs, is quite unruly and out of order, quite outrageous because. I mean, we've always been Indian. We've been proud Indians from the northeast of India. And we don't have any land, property, voting, or access to public funds in China. We are completely Indian. So to have my nationality questioned, to have Indian citizens harassed when it's something that I have no say at because I'm just a citizen, right? And in fact, I'm a non-resident citizen of India, and this is such a huge diplomatic issue that they should deal with it directly with the authorities of India and not with a commoner.
Well, are you going to take any legal action? Is there a legal recourse perhaps against the airline which allowed you to travel in the first place, or I dare say the government of China itself, or is that money of yours just gone?
I think it's just gone. Good. I don't know how it would be. I'll explore the option, obviously.
I think you should, because I
But
think
for
there's a
me, it's
travesty
more
of justice here.
the mental and the physical trauma of having to go through this whole thing when I'm clearly an Indian citizen with an Indian passport, which is clearly a valid document. The questioning of my nationality, the questioning of Arunachal being claimed as Chinese territory when all our lives, like since the beginning of inception of Arunachal, we've been Indian, is more an issue at hand than the financial loss. Of course, I'm deeply saddened by the fact that I couldn't go on my onward journey to Japan, and there has been some financial losses. But at the end of the day, it was more important for me to raise this awareness so that before Indians take that trip to
Yeah.
China, they think twice and obviously perhaps avoid such ordeals in the
Prema,
future.
are you going to travel to China anytime in the future?
In no way. I mean, not even transiting, because the whole fact that I said to them, like, if you don't want me in the country, why are you keeping me here? Like, I'm only transiting. The fact that they are saying it's not the transit that's an issue, it's the fact that you don't hold a valid passport. In fact, mocking me to say, apply for a Chinese passport. They know that in 3 hours, when my next flight is, I cannot get hold of a Chinese passport. And why should I? I'm an Indian, I'm not Chinese. Um, Yeah, so definitely not going to be in my itinerary ever in the future.
They mocked you and said, get a Chinese passport.
Yes, immigration officers, absolutely unprofessional, unruly, screaming. And in fact, I had to at one point say, "I'm going to take out my phone and start recording if you don't behave professionally."
All right, well, Prema, thank you very much for speaking to us. And I think it takes a great deal of courage to have stood up to these bullies and have asserted your citizenship as a proud Indian national and a proud citizen of our country, and somebody who's very close to your state, Arunachal Pradesh. Thank you very much for speaking to us. Thanks very much indeed.